Is
No,
over.
what I said was the idea that you can't kill an idea.
Oh, that's what I said.
Yeah, that's what I was objecting to.
Right.
And I was quoting Sam talking
Right.
about the fact that
You
after
know,
World War
II, we
II,
did not kill Nazism.
Done. The conversation is done. We have literally people today in America claiming to be Nazis. Man, you don't understand how hot it is when you're producing something as high quality content that I do. I got 4 lights, a light behind me, and it is hot as hell. So if you see like some armpit, sweat, like don't laugh at me, all right? All right, so it is crazy how when you can take a complex, extremely difficult scenario or events happening, you can take something like that and simplify some of the remedies of that situation. And I know I'm speaking in code, so when it comes to Israel and the Palestine people, it's a complex situation. I'm not going to even lie. But before I start kind of recording videos, that's when, October 6th happened. And I was in the process of, buying all these books to kind of, inform myself of the history, from opposing, opinions, so I can kind of gather my own opinion about the history and be able to have these full, detailed, complex conversations. And I never did that because I was already going through some things in my life, and I was just like, I don't want to focus on anything right now. So starting this weekend, I'm going to go back to those books, read up on some things so I can have a detailed conversation. But sometimes, which we're about to prove on Bill Maher's podcast that he has, sometimes a real simple approach, you don't have to dig too deep into the details. Sometimes a simple solution is probably the best. And once you kind of see the back and forth that they have, it's like anybody who is being sincere, being understanding, would understand you can't be as gangster as Israel is doing to the Palestinian people. It's just really hard to like really force a narrative. Like, you almost have to suspend reality and just be like, no, this needs to happen. They need to kill as many people as possible to do X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, let's go ahead and, get into the conversation so we can kind of have that conversation.
in Israel. Now we have to get them into
Yeah.
the sea.
Yeah.
Oh.
What about their prime minister? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Of course, you can talk about anything. That's what I love about this.
I really think that he knows if, God forbid, he steps down or the war is over, he's in jail.
I mean, that's possible, and we hear that a lot. I mean, it's
I
interesting.
believe it to my core.
Yeah, well, you don't know what's, I mean, that could be the case. You don't know what's in a person's heart, whether that's true or not.
I hate that excuse. You don't know what's in a person's heart. Like, it is true, but if you look at their actions, a nice chunk of actions, not just one moment, one day, but if they have years of history of supporting or doing a certain thing, in their words, sometimes when people speak, you kind of have to believe them. Sometimes, people are talking in code or whatnot, but sometimes people want you to know how they feel. And when it comes to the prime minister in Israel, like, I've heard some of the crazy things he said, and it's like, I think that's what he really believes. Like, it's kind of hard to like pivot out of that and be like, he didn't really mean that. So, but once again, once I do a deeper dive myself, and kind of put the pieces together myself, then, I will feel more comfortable talking about the details. But
you can still be supportive of the decisions he's making, which I am.
Okay.
It's very naive, I think, that this could go any other way.
Right.
And any other country in the world would not be expected to act any differently. If you get attacked, you get to fight back. And the war doesn't end when you start fighting back, which they always want with Israel.
So one thing, and he is 100% right. When you get attacked, and this can go for a country, your family, an individual, like, I think this is just kind of, as a human being, this is what we instinctively do. Like, hey, you attack me, I will defend myself. And especially when it's causing, or involving your family or a country, like, you have to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. I understand. And they're going to go into more detail, but it's caveats that is causing that simple reaction as defending yourself to make that a little bit more difficult than just, hey, they attacked us, we're defending ourselves.
When somebody...
You know what? A lot of what you're saying is true. However, I think that, there are parents, there are families that are hurting because the hostages are not.
Yes, and it's the job of a statesman and a leader and a prime minister to think long term and not just short term. Like, if they don't eliminate Hamas,
they're not going to eliminate Hamas. Hamas is an idea, not a group of people.
That's a bullshit thing.
It's not bullshit.
Well, let me tell you something. They've said that for years. I just read, I think, Sam Harris on this, and he said it right.
I know Sam.
Okay, great.
I like
love
Sam.
Great. I'm glad we both do.
Yeah.
And he said this thing we've heard a lot of times. You can't kill an idea. He said, well, we did after World War II.
Until now.
We did kill a lot of Japanese, and that was unfortunate.
Right.
But, I mean, if you do kill enough lunatics, and Japan was led by lunatics,
right.
Died of the last person and a lot of suicide bombing and all that. Very similar to what we see with radical Muslims.
Right.
Suicide bombing, cult of martyrdom.
Right.
Okay, so Japan became our good friend. So let's not pretend that you can't actually get to the root of this. It is difficult.
I'm not pretending.
No.
I truly believe.
So this whole, you have to kill Hamas, or Hamas, not Hamas. And, like Bill said, you can just try to wipe out as many people as possible. And then, like, I guess essentially you can, if you're okay with just killing innocent people, as many as it takes. If that's your argument, then nothing that I'm going to say is ever going to convince you. If you think you just need to kill every Palestinian and, whoever survives better just act right, like, if that's your approach, then nothing I have to say would ever make sense. But when just to kind of simplify of what I know and kind of just what is kind of public knowledge is the Palestine people have been, I guess for, lack of a better term, bullied, occupied for decades, years. It wasn't just like, a few years ago. Like, they have been denied to the most basic things that human beings need to have dignity, survive. They've been denied that or limited access to water, food, education, jobs, just the ability to, like, roam around your area, your city, your country. Like, they've been denied basic stuff like that. Let alone the senseless, the little to no reason of killing innocent people by the Israel soldiers. You're going to create people who don't like you. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do. You are torturing people. They're going to retaliate at some point. Look at slavery. How many times did the slaves turn on their masters and just kill as many people as possible? What's his name? Not James Brown, Jim Brown. I forget his name. I just thought of this moment in history, and I probably should have wrote my notes, but that's what he was planning on doing, is retaliating against the slave owners. Why would he do that? Because the slaves were being forced to live a life that nobody in their right mind would think is okay. You're going to create those kind of radical people. And just because you try to kill as many people as possible doesn't mean the people who survive are just going to be like, well, I guess like them killing my family, my friends, destroying the place that I grew up in, like I'm going to be a productive person in society. No, they're going to be hateful. They're going to hate you. It is not hard to understand. You do something to my family, it's a good chance I'm going to hate you. Has nothing to do with your last name, has nothing to do with your religion. I am going to hate you. And I'm probably going to retaliate in some way, shape, or form. That's simple. But once again, like I said, the history is very complex. It's not just Palestine people attacking Israel, and that's just where we're starting from. It's a whole history. And like I said, I'm going to educate myself so I can be a little bit more articulate in deeper conversations. But on a surface level, if you don't understand that, you can't kill what you are putting on people. Hopefully that makes sense. Come on now.
No,
In
you
this
will not-
particular case,
you will not-
you don't think that all those people that are now homeless and their families are destroyed, you don't think that they are now
I think you have to make
Hamas
calculation.
again?
Of course, absolutely. That is going to happen. You are also
So
recruiting.
you want to kill every human being?
No. Is that what I said?
No, but I think it is what you were leading to.
No, it is certainly not what I'm leading to. What I'm saying
If we
is,
kill enough of them, we're going to end Hamas.
I didn't say that either.
I think you did.
No, I didn't.
So
you
what
said
do
it.
You want to play it back?
Yeah, I
I
didn't.
didn't say that.
I didn't say
I
that.
did not say if you kill enough of them, that where the Hamas is
No,
over.
what I said was the idea that you can't kill an idea.
Oh,
is-
that's what I said.
Yeah, that's what I was objecting to.
Right.
And I was quoting Sam talking
Right.
about the fact that
You
after
know, World War II, we did not kill Nazism.
Done. The conversation is done. We have literally people today in America claiming to be Nazis. Now, are they really about that life? Hey, they speak it. I don't know if they walk the walk, but you can't kill Nazism. It's something that people will decide to do. They don't care about how many people die. They don't care. That's an idea. That's an ideology. That's a cult. That's you. You can't do that. It's pretty simple, right? Like the reason why Martin Luther King was so effective wasn't because he was an individual person that only himself created the change. He inspired people, black and brown people, to know that they have rights and they should be able to fight for their rights, you know, in a peaceful way, you know, because he was nonviolent. But he gave people courage and hope in here. So even after he was assassinated, people picked up the mantle essentially and continued the fight. Look at Malcolm X. He was assassinated, but people that he inspired continued that fight. So just because you killed the person or many people, you don't understand that that's only fueling the fire. And that's why I say I hope I hope no one dies, but I really hope nobody puts their hands on Trump, because that's only going to make America explode. Like, probably literally, because like people will lose their minds, and all the conspiracies, as wacky as they are, will come to tuition, because they're going to say they killed Donald Trump because he knew too much, he spoke the truth, and now he's a martyr. And you can't do nothing with that. You can't do nothing with that narrative. So like, that's why I'm saying, like, we need to protect Donald Trump, because as crazy as he is, we haven't seen anything yet. If something was to happen to him, it would be, it would be bad.
Except for like a moment. It's back almost in every country.
Back in a tiny fringe. I mean, if you expect perfection,
really, did we just have some crazy Nazis a few years ago marching down the street in Charlottesville, saying Jews will not replace us? I mean, this is just, and then we just had the Proud Boys marching in Springfield because of Donald Trump and his lies. Like, what are you talking about? It's just a small fraction. Hey, one bad apple will spoil the whole. You know the quote. You know what I'm saying. Like, what are you talking about? That idea hasn't been killed. Either it has been killed or it hasn't. Either it's still an idea or it's not. You can't be like, well, almost. We almost killed Nazism. Well, guess what, Bill? Almost doesn't count. Unless you're playing horseshoes or hand grenades, like, almost doesn't count. So what are you talking about, Bill?
I don't expect a perfection.
Well, then it's a silly argument.
I believe. Well, that's not true.
Well,
but I believe that we are going to experience another Kristallnacht, and could very well experience it here.
Well, there's a lot of anti-Semitism, and that comes from people like Hamas.
Yeah, I see.
Do you not think there was anti-Semitism before anyone even heard of Hamas? Because I guarantee you watching this video haven't heard about Hamas until after what happened in October. Guarantee it's 98% chance that you have it, because I haven't. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know world, events and just everything like that. Hopefully in the future I will, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie like, yeah, I knew about Hamas and their deal that they made with Israel. Like no. But I knew that there was people that didn't like Jewish people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, come on, like it's weird that he's putting so much into Hamas. It's like how Republicans do with the word woke or critical race theory. They just, they don't care what the actual definition is, but whatever is negative and poisonous in terms of, cultural kind of hot topics, we're going to just throw that under critical race theory. And what's his name, who's kind of leading that entire thing, that's exactly what he admitted. So that's how it feels like when people are being disingenuous about Hamas, and trust me, Hamas shouldn't, that's a whole story. It is disingenuous to just put everything into their, like everything that's happening when it comes to anti-Semitism and blame it on Hamas. It has been going on even before Hamas, and trust me, if we even eradicate all Hamas members off the planet, it's still going to continue, unfortunately. I wish we could just eradicate racism, right? Like, just kill everyone who's racist, right? Like, that's the solution, right? Come on.
So, I mean, again, when you're a leader, you have to think long term.
Right.
If you don't know, they've prosecuted this war for 11 months, as we're recording this in September
Right.
of 2024. So they're at the final stage. They're in the South. Yes, there are probably still I don't know, 80, 90 hostages left.
Right, 100.
It's horrible to think of the situation they've been in, and if we can't get
So
them
in
out.
other words,
Again, if I could just finish.
yes, go right ahead.
You have to think in terms of long-term and numbers. Like those 100 people, we wouldn't want anyone to die, but what if we let Hamas off the hook and then it gets worse and 10,000 die? That's how.
10,000.
Well, in the future. In other words, if they are able to stage more attacks.
I see. 10,000 more Israelis.
You've gone this far for 11 months. And my question to people who have this argument is always, do you know what's going on really underneath Gaza in all the tunnels and how close they are?
I do not know.
I don't either. But you know who does know? The Israeli Defense Force. Now, are they...
Once again, oh, sweet baby Jesus. I don't, once again, I don't know the exact details in the history of, Hamas having these tunnels. Like, of course, I'm pretty sure that is true. But just to take information from the Israeli government as gospel truth, as if we don't know, essentially all governments will lie about some things, especially when it's covering up their, I guess, war crimes or things that they shouldn't be doing. Like, wouldn't they lie? I mean, our government will lie about the most pettiest things. Look at Donald Trump lying about cats being eaten in Springfield. Like, if he can lie about something like that, you don't think he's going to lie about something that's no, you know what I'm saying? So just, I don't understand. Well, their government said that, they have all these tunnels, so we just got to just keep blowing them up. Like, I need a little bit more sources to support that claim other than the Israeli government. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of miss me on that.
Perfect? Absolutely not. But again, they're not the ones purposely killing civilians. They try not to kill civilians. If you can't understand that
They try not. Man, just look. You don't even have to read now, because I know a lot of people don't like to read. People like myself is a dying breed, like, who will actually read articles from credible sources. But just look at pictures of the carnage and the destruction of these areas and tell me, does that look like it's precise? It's trying to be measured and exact? Or does it look like they just like pointed on the map, was like, all right, we just gonna get rid of all this here? I don't know. Once again, I've never been in the military. I never shot rockets or whatever. I don't know how difficult or non-difficult it is to like be precise. But from what I heard, that you thought what the US did to Japan was crazy. I've heard that the amount of bombs that Israel has dropped outmeasures that situation that happened in Japan by tenfold. You know what I'm saying? So once again, you, Mr. Bill Maher, you are missing me with the crazy statements that you're saying.
Friends, morally, then you're very morally confused.
Are you watching the same?
They try not to kill civilians. If you can't understand that difference morally, then you're very morally confused.
Are you watching the same footage I'm watching?
You think they are trying?
Like, he was confused. Like, what are you watching? Because the photographs from tons of people who are actually on the field from Israel, they're showing essentially the same stuff, and it looks like it's just blow up whatever you can. No building is standing type of situation. So I don't know. Once again, I'm no weapon expert, but it doesn't look precise. I don't know how else to put that.
Trying to kill civilians?
I think that it
Yes.
is indiscriminate.
That's what war is.
Okay.
War becomes that. There is no war you can name that didn't. Sherman burned Atlanta to
And once again, that's a whack excuse. Like, well, it's war. Well, if it's war, don't pretend. Don't try to critique your argument like, you know, they're not trying to kill civilians, but if they are, then that's war, baby. Like, no, that statement contradicts itself. You can't say, you know, they're trying their best not to kill civilians, but like if it happens, then well, what if he wants to kill civilians and innocent people, and just what you could just toss it up to war, right? Like you know, like you know, I'm trying to you know not just kill everybody, but like it's war. Send another rocket, like that just doesn't mix together. You know what I'm saying? But once again, like this is really, it feels like it's basic conversation. You don't have to be an expert in the Israel and Palestine war that goes for decades to understand, like, it really seems like he's just trying to kill whoever he can.
to the ground.
Right.
And it wasn't just the military people
Right.
he was killing. It's a shame, but again, there's a very simple solution to this. Stop attacking Israel.
Right.
Yeah, that's the narrative, right? That's the history. Stop attack. Oh my God, people, we need to educate ourselves before we try to just simplify a complex situation. And like I said, it would be irresponsible for me to sit here and be like, yeah, you know, if the Palestine people would have just never messed with the Israel people, like they would have been fine. But like I told you, they've been denied access to basic human things. Like, is that fine to you? Because I guarantee you, if I was in that situation, I would not like you. I mean, that's simple. We would be enemies, right? You know, so I don't know. Like, it seems pretty simple to me.
Jews used to know this.
Right. Okay.
Still love you.
I love you.
Okay.
I have no
glad we can
judgment
talk.
about your point of view.
Great. And I not of yours.
I disagree a little
Yeah.
bit with what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, that's
I
okay.
don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that the head of Israel at this moment is a soulful human being.
That may be true too. I didn't say he wasn't, and I didn't say
Right.
even that he might not be doing what you suggested he might be doing. What I was saying is, even if those things are true, it could also be true that this is the correct policy, which I believe it is. I think
Oh my God. Hey, Bill. All right, man. Like, how much longer? You can't say, well, you know, all the things you're saying about, you know, I don't want to mispronounce his name. Mitten, not I'm really bad with names, but you can't say about their prime minister that, you know, he could be a heartless person. He could be, you know, just someone who is acting with ill intentions. But in the same breath say, but some of the policies he's pushing is correct. Like, if somebody is heartless and they want to destroy a group of people, he's going to create legislation in bills that represents who he is as a person. I mean, a hateful person is going to create those type of bills, right? Come on, Bill. Like, but one thing I do know that needs to stop, and take it how you want it. Israel needs to stop bombing the Palestine people. And then whatever needs to happen after that, there's smarter people than me that can figure that out. But it's not going to be a solution. A solution is not to kill as many people as needed to kill Hamas. Like, that's not how logic works. You're not going to bomb your way out of that type of situation. You're just not. And there's plenty of history that supports that. So, but once again, if you're watching the video and you think I'm just some babbling idiot, like a lot of people like to say, do not be shy. I do not create these videos to make friends. I do not create these videos so people can like me. I just create these videos because I got something to say and I want to say it. And guess what? Fortunately, I live in America and I can say what I want. And guess what? I don't really like friends anyway. I don't need any friends. So tell me what's on your mind. And I mean, damn it, I may be regretting this, but let's have that conversation.